welcome back to the show. If you're just now joining us, we're here with renowned relationship expert Onet's Communication, who is here to discuss how perception checking can make deep and meaningful relationships with others. Onetska, what does the term perception checking mean?
Victoria, so often we are fearful of being vulnerable in a relationship that we forego disclosing how we feel to others. Being vulnerable can be a wonderful thing, especially if both partners are willing to trust each other. This means that sometimes you have to take the risk of being the first person to perception check. That is, describe the facts of a situation, share your interpretation of the facts or self-disclose, and ask for clarification from the other person. This requires some serious vulnerability because there is the possibility that your perception of a situation could be wrong.
I know that some of our audience members today have struggled with self-disclosing in a relationship, specifically when it comes to workplace relationships. Those can be sticky situations. Oftentimes, things like miscommunication, rank, or maintaining professionalism can easily get in the way of a workplace relationship. So if there is confusion on where the relationship stands, each person should feel comfortable enough to approach the other person and practice perception checking. And they can even use a tool that one of my mentors, Alan Heller, developed called the Communistar. Well, that sounds like a fancy spaceship. Far from it, actually.
The Communistar is a way to speak in a situation that may have produced conflict. Basically, it helps to provide clarity on where each person stands. I actually just introduced it to a client of mine who has been wanting to DTR with a man who happens to be in a higher position at her place of work.
That sounds like a scary place to be. So how does this star help with awkward workplace conversations?
There are 6 quadrants on the star: sense, discern, think, feel, want, and do. Each quadrant represents a segment for the person to discuss with the other. For my client, I advised her to begin with the sense and approach her romantic interest in person. Previously, she had only been discussing over text message, which I do not recommend. My client, for sense, could say, "I noticed that we have not talked in person since 2 Wednesdays ago and have only texted." This is her seeing something, noticing something occur, which is a sense. Then she would move on to think. We'll forgo discern in this example. So in think, my client could say, "I thought our friendship was becoming a romantic relationship." Then she would move on to feel. "I feel sad because it seems like you are not seriously interested in me." Then move on to want. "I want to know if this relationship is going to progress." And finally, do. "If you are interested, we should go on a date together." The hope is that this dialogue can be reciprocated on the partner's part so that each person is on the same page.
Wow, that is a great tool to use. You know, I think I can use it in a conversation with one of my dogs. I saw that he keeps getting into my trash can, and that makes me feel mad.
Oh, you've got it.
You know, Onetska, being able to communicate clearly with one another in any type of relationship requires vulnerability and the chance for feedback. We are sending each of our audience members home with a free Communistar template so that they too can learn how to walk through their thoughts in the midst of relationship conflict and difficult conversations. Onetska, thank you so much for being on the show. Onet's Communication, everyone!